BRONY, a usually major, often male fan of the animated television series My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, typically an adult male. This is a word that might bring up various emotions depending on the person: delight, fear, other stuff. Now, I myself am not a brony, but I did decide to sit down and binge the first season of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic to see what all the hype is about. 15 years late. Now, I know there are a lot of other facets to the community, but today I'll just be exploring my experience with the first season. But if you'd like me to review the rest of the seasons or maybe some of the other more fan-made content, feel free to subscribe and let me know in the comments which fan-made project or which season in general is your favorite. Hit that like button and let's get going. Now, if you don't know, My Little Pony is a show about ponies. Now, I know, pretty difficult to understand, but stick with me. Don't click off the video yet. Our story begins with some nice narration from our main character, Twilight Sparkle. Now, Twilight Sparkle is from Canterlot, which is a neighboring city to Ponyville, which is all in the world of Equestria. And if you're already sick of horse puns, I'm just going to get this out of the way. There's way more where that came from. Now, Twilight Sparkle is a student under the ruler of Equestria, Princess Celestia. Now, something you should know about Princess Celestia is that she was not the only ruler of Equestria. She once ruled with her sister, Nightmare Moon, which is a way cooler name, we can all admit. And Nightmare Moon rules over the nighttime, while Princess Celestia rules over the daytime. Pretty easy. Now, Nightmare Moon got kind of pissed when everyone started sleeping during her cool nighttime, so she decided it would be awesome to always make it nighttime, which would probably cause so many natural disasters. I'm surprised Ponyville isn't underwater at this point. And as we all know, the end of everything is pretty bad. And Celestia also thought that was not too good, so she banished her sister into the literal moon. So Celestia took it upon herself to be in charge of the sun and the moon, and peace was restored happily ever after. Show's over. We can leave. Don't leave. Wait, so if that's the end of the story, why am I even telling you all this? Why even bother? Well, Twilight Sparkle is kind of a nerd. While Twilight Sparkle's reading her little nerd books for nerds about the literal end of the world, turns out Nightmare Moon is making a return, which is not very good. And the only way to stop her from taking over the world is to gather the elements of harmony, which is like the Infinity Stones for horses. With all of this in mind, Twilight runs to the princess and tells her that all of ponykind is in danger, and she doesn't care. She doesn't care at all. Instead, she just goes and says, "Go plan this party for me. I'm the best. I'm Princess Celestia." This leads Twilight Sparkle on her magical quest with her partner and tiny little baby dragon guy. I don't know. They don't really address it very much. But his name is Spike. Off to Ponyville to recruit some ponies and make some friends. How? This is when we finally get to meet the rest of our main characters: the high-spirited country pony Applejack, the competitive high-energy Pegasus Rainbow Dash, the luxurious high-standards unicorn Rarity, the shy high-anxiety animal lover Fluttershy, and the high-anxiety-inducing pink pony Pinkie Pie. Now, you may have noticed that I mentioned 3 different kinds of ponies, which is going to lead me to the chalkboard. Come with. Now, Applejack and Pinkie Pie are just regular Earth ponies, as Mother Nature pony frowned upon them probably, and they get to work harder than the rest of the ponies. And Twilight Sparkle and Rarity are unicorns, so they get to have magical powers, and they use them to, I don't know, get books off of shelves with their hands and make clothes, I guess. They basically have hands without having hands, which is an image I now have in my head. And finally, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy are Pegasi. And because they are Pegasi, that means they get to fly around and control the weather, which has a lot more implications than I'd like to explore in this video. Now, I know that I just explained that there are only 3 types of ponies, and if you believe me, too bad, that was a lie. As there are also alicorns, and they're special. They get to have horn powers, they get to have wing powers, they get to have pony powers. Again, not all powers are created equal. And Princess Celestia is an example of this alicorn. With that out of the way, Nightmare Moon has returned. No one listened to Twilight Sparkle's warnings, and now she's back. And she is not too happy about being stuck in a moon. So she decides to invade and plunges the entire world into eternal darkness once more, which is, as we've said, not very good. So the unlikely friends go on a journey through a spooky forest to find the elements of harmony. The 6 elements of harmony are honesty, kindness, laughter, generosity, loyalty, and magic. And honestly, the only one that feels really out of place here is laughter. That's like one of the 6 infinity stones on Thanos' gauntlet, being like really good at making charcuterie boards. And throughout their spooky forest journey, they encounter many struggles, such as the fearsome manticore, which Fluttershy is able to talk to, and just sees that he's got a little thorn in his little paw, so everything's all good. And they also face spooky trees, which Pinkie Pie is able to slay by laughing a lot and then singing about laughing a lot. And after their long journey through the forest, they make it to the end and find all 6 of the elements of harmony, only for Nightmare Moon to destroy them in front of everyone's very eyes. However, the 6 ponies realize that the elements of harmony were the friends they made along the way. And by using the power of friendship, they each get epic outfits and go full Super Saiyan on Nightmare Moon, and she explodes, I think, banishing her back into the Shadow Realm and saving all of pony kind. So, how do we follow up this epic battle in the next episode? Well, Rainbow Dash and Applejack fight over who wants gala tickets. Yeah, there's a little bit of tonal whiplash between the 2-part season premiere and the entire rest of the season, as most of the following episodes in season 1 are mostly slice of life with a lot of environmental world building, classic miscommunications, and lots and lots and lots of parties. Now, slice of life isn't a bad thing, as there's many shows that do it, such as SpongeBob, which, if you haven't seen my last video on, feel free to click that link in the description below. But the episodes overall are a pretty mixed bag. Now, there are 2 through lines throughout the season, sort of holding these episodic adventures together. One of these through lines is that Twilight Sparkle writes to the princess about the power of friendship and what she learned about it, who, by the way, she is simping hard for. Arguably the biggest simp in the entire show. If Spike didn't exist, Spike is incredibly down bad. The other through line is the previously mentioned gala, known as the Grand Galloping Gala, which is actually pretty subtly hinted at throughout the entire season. It's about a third of the episodes that sort of hint towards it, such as the previously mentioned arm wrestling tickets, and also an episode where Rarity makes a bunch of dresses for everyone. They end up showing up in the finale, which hosts our gala at the end. And these through lines are a great way to keep me watching. Even through the episodic nature of the show, I always wanted to keep watching to maybe get some hints about either some of the deeper meanings, meeting new characters, or just seeing what this gala is all about. And the season does a lot to build the world up, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the quote-unquote overarching narrative. A great example of this is in the episode Over a Barrel, where Applejack asks all the other ponies to make a delivery with her to a neighboring town, where they run into a herd of buffalo who are planning to destroy the town out of some sort of rivalry type situation. However, it turns out that the settlers of the town have settled onto the buffalo's land in the first place. Now, the allegory is pretty direct, but it is a great episode on inclusion and actual historical things that happened in United States history, while also expanding the show itself to new areas and locations, as well as learning that, other things exist, such as the buffalo. And this just makes the world feel a lot more fleshed out. Speaking of world, though, I found the art style to be pretty dang charming. It holds up tremendously for being an almost 15-year-old show. And the background characters had a lot of consistency throughout, which is a thing they must have learned from SpongeBob. Again, click the SpongeBob link after this video. Some even becoming bigger players and even main characters of certain episodes later on in the season. The art style leaves a lot of breathing room for the characters to be extremely expressive, such as Pinkie Pie extending her neck like an eldritch demon every time she forces her way onto the screen, or how the characters can just casually stroll up the side of a cliff face when the plot demands it. However, no season is without its lows in some episodes, and there is a lot of screen time dedicated to these three ponies, the Cutie Mark Crusaders. These three tiny little baby ponies don't have their cutie marks yet, which if you haven't noticed on each of the characters, they have what is called a cutie mark, which comes when a pony finds out what their true calling is. But these kids want their mark now. And there's about 4 or so episodes where they kind of just go through the same arc over and over. And in the end of the season, they still don't have their cutie marks. However, this does not stop them from kicking, scamming, and yelling their way to getting their cutie mark, especially in the episodes where they get bullied by their elitist classmates that already have their cutie marks. By the way, one of the bullies literally has a spoon for a cutie mark. And if I had a spoon on my butt cheek for the rest of my life, I would not be calling anyone names. Now, despite being sort of the low point, they also do get one of the best episodes, which is called Cutie Mark Chronicles, in which all of them ask the main ponies sort of how they got theirs, which fleshes out their backstories a little bit, and it's sort of on the tail end of the season, so it's a little appetizer for what we might be getting in season 2 and onward. However, that episode's shining moments happen when the Crusaders aren't on screen, so I wouldn't give them too much credit. Maybe next season they'll be better, but that's sort of where I stand. I also enjoy what they did with the season finale at the Grand Galloping Gala, as they build up the gala to be this really big, exciting event, and it doesn't live up to any of our main characters' expectations, which is sort of playing on what a season finale could be in the first place. Now, I can see why people might think that's sort of unfulfilling after 26 episodes of growing with these characters, but I think it's a great twist, and it doesn't really take away from the ending, as we already know there's going to be more episodes to watch. And speaking of unfulfilling endings, overall I found myself really enjoying a lot of the slapstick humor and a cleverly written joke or two per episode, and I'm hoping season 2 kicks it off with a bang. So if you want to see my thoughts on season 2 and enjoyed the video, why not hit that bell and subscribe so you know exactly when that season 2 video comes out. Bye for now. Gotta go walk my duck.